Let's dive right in. Today, we are breaking down the 2026 Scala roadmap. If you're a developer who's been curious about this incredibly powerful language, then you are in exactly the right place. We're going to turn this comprehensive guide into a super clear, motivating journey. Let's get to it. First things first, I want to start with a number, 353,000. So what is that? Well, that's the number of GitHub stars for roadmap.sh, the project behind this entire guide. And that tells you something huge right from the get-go. Scala isn't some tiny niche language. Nope. It's a major player with a massive active community behind it. That number? That's trust. It's collaboration. It's a giant pool of shared knowledge you can tap into. So that brings us to the big question, right? Why should you pick Scala, specifically in 2026? Look, this is about way more than just learning some new syntax. It's about arming yourself with a tool that is purpose-built to tackle the gnarliest challenges in software today. We're talking about handling massive data pipelines without everything falling apart, or building super responsive concurrent systems that, don't just crash. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the why, the big opportunity. Then we'll walk through your very first steps. The biggest chunk of our time will be on mastering the core skills, before we zoom out to explore the whole ecosystem and even peek at some of the advanced frontiers. It's a really clear path from zero to hero. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the Scala opportunity. This is all about the foundation you're going to be building on. And it's not just about the power of the language itself, but also the incredible, vibrant community that's there to support you. I mean, just look at this. This visualizes the amazing support system you're stepping into. Forget the GitHub stars for a second. 2.8 million developers are registered on the Roadmap SH platform, and there are over 47,000 people on the Scala Discord. You know what that means? It means when you're stuck on a problem at 2 in the morning, chances are someone is awake and ready to help. You're absolutely not going on this journey alone. Okay, on to Section 2, your first steps. The whole point here is to make getting started as smooth and painless as possible. And the roadmap just boils it down to 3 really simple steps. First, pick your editor. IntelliJ IDEA is a huge favorite, kind of the gold standard in the Scala world, but VS Code is also a fantastic choice. Second, grab your learning materials. The official docs are a great place to start. And third, just dive in and learn the basics. Seriously, it's that straightforward. And that brings us to the real heart of the matter, Section 3, mastering the core. This is where you're going to build those fundamental skills that will make you a truly proficient, confident Scala developer. Every great program, no matter how complex, starts with data. So naturally, the first part of mastering the core is getting a solid grip on the building blocks Scala gives you to represent all that information. You'll start with stuff that feels pretty familiar, right? Integers, strings, lists, maps. But you're going to very quickly meet Scala's secret weapons, types like option, either, and try. And these are total game changers. An option, for example, basically eliminates null-pointer exceptions by forcing you to think about what happens when a value is missing. And either lets you return one of 2 things like a success or an error without blowing up your program. These are powerful tools for writing super robust, error-free code right from the start. So, once you have your data, you need to actually do things with it. And this is where Scala's functional programming side really starts to shine. It's all about transforming data from one shape to another, but in a really clean, predictable way. Just look at these. These are like the power verbs of the language. Instead of writing these clunky, complicated loops, you'll use these incredibly expressive functions. You'll use map to transform every single item in a list, or a filter to pick out just the ones you want. This is where you really start to feel that elegance and clarity that Scala is famous for. So how do you handle complex business logic without it turning into a tangled mess of if-else statements? Well, that brings us to one of Scala's most beloved features, its super elegant and safe patterns. This shows how a few different features work together in a brilliant way. You use case classes to create these simple, unchangeable data containers. You group them together with sealed traits, and then you use pattern matching to safely pull them apart. And the best part? The compiler becomes your best friend. It actually checks your code to make sure you've handled every single possible scenario. It's like having a safety net for your logic. All right, let's move on to Section 4, entering the ecosystem. So you've learned the grammar, the syntax of the language. Now it's time to take that knowledge and start using it with real-world, professional-grade tools and libraries. This here is a key decision point early on, your build tool. This is the thing that compiles your code and manages all your project's dependencies. If you're going all in on Scala, you'll probably want to use something like SBT or MIL. But hey, if you're coming from the Java world, you're not left in the cold. You can totally still use familiar tools like Gradle and Maven. The ecosystem is super flexible. Now, this is really important, so listen up. You should not look at this chart as a checklist of things to learn. Think of CATS, Zio, and Akka as different philosophies or different flavors for building big applications. CATS is all about pure functional programming. Zio is a whole world built around managing complex application logic. Akka is famous for building massive distributed systems. You'll probably find yourself drawn to one of them as you get more experience. You do not need to learn them all. And where can you actually use these skills? The short answer is pretty much everywhere. The JVM is the gold standard for rock-solid backend services. But with Scala Native, you can compile your code into lightning-fast executables. And with Scala.js, you can even write your web frontends in Scala. It's incredibly versatile. Finally, let's look at our last section, number 5, Advanced Frontiers. Now, don't think of this as a scary final checklist. Think of it more like an exciting glimpse of the mountain peaks, the specializations you can explore once you're comfortable with the core language. And this is where the rubber really meets the road. Whether you want to build backend APIs with something like HTTP4S or Tapire, or process insane amounts of data with Spark, or just write solid, dependable tests with Scala Test, there is a mature, powerful library ready and waiting for you. Okay, you're going to start hearing words like monads and type classes thrown around. Don't let them scare you. Seriously, just think of them as high-level blueprints for solving common programming problems. A monad, for instance, is just a pattern for chaining together operations that might fail along the way. Once it clicks, these concepts let you write code that is unbelievably predictable and easy to reason about. This is the path to true mastery. And that brings us to maybe the most empowering piece of advice in this entire roadmap. You don't need to sit down and study these advanced topics in a textbook. You pick them up when you need them, usually because you started using a library that's built on them. Your learning is driven by real, practical needs. So at the end of the day, that's the big takeaway. This roadmap gives you an incredible structure, a path that thousands of others have walked. But your journey along it is going to be your own. Think of it as a guide to empower you, not a set of rigid rules to hold you back. So there you have it. We've walked through the opportunity, the first steps, the core skills, and the huge ecosystem waiting for you. The path is laid out. You have the map. The only question left is, what are you going to build first? All right,